Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guest of honor, Olivia Jordan.
Thank you. I've been trying to make my reel lately, so I know how hard that was to sift through all those videos, so I appreciate that intro. Thank you guys so much. It's such an honor to be here. My dad on the way here was like, "Are you nervous? You do scary things all the time." And I was like, yeah, I'm still nervous. I keep doing bigger and bigger things, and so I keep having to face those fears. But here I am, and I'm currently wearing, these earrings are up in the auction, the live auction, and they're amethyst, which I don't know if you believe in this, but the crystal is supposed to have calming and balancing powers. So hopefully they'll do that today. I am so thrilled to be here, and I'm so grateful to each of you because I know everyone in this room supports the arts and understands the importance of the arts and what they can do for a community and what they can do for an individual to help them in their lives. So thank you all for your generosity. It is so incredible. Please give yourself a hand of applause. And I know I am preaching to the choir, but continue to be generous. The auction is still coming up later. Continue to give as much as you can because you know this organization supports so many groups all across Tulsa, and they help people in every single age group, and what you do is incredible. So keep being generous today. I'm so grateful to be from Tulsa. As I just said in that clip, Tulsa is a philanthropic community, and it is so focused on being generous and giving back, and what a wonderful legacy to be born into, that's how I was raised. That's what I was taught is the norm. And so it's so wonderful to speak in front of a group of people that are incredibly generous. And to just tell you a little bit about my story and how I got to where I am today and what I hope to do next. When I got the offer, my mom's cousin, Lacey Kiefer, asked if I would be interested in doing this and she could connect me. And anytime someone says, "Would you like to work in Tulsa?" I say yes, because I want to see my family. And I love to work, and so I have a hard time just scheduling a vacation, so it's nice to come home. And then especially on my sister's birthday weekend. It makes it so much extra special. But then I'd already said yes, that I wanted to, and then had to accept the fact that I was going to have to speak about my journey as an artist, which quite frankly, I don't always really feel like an artist. My dad was saying that maybe I should compare this to La La Land. So if you've seen the film, Emma Stone goes on auditions every day, and I do that in a lot of my life, and so much of your energy goes into it. You fall in love with a character, you fall in love with a script, you get excited about the potential of what this could mean financially and for your life, and then you walk into a room after spending hours and days, and if you're really lucky, a whole week, breaking down this character, and you walk into a room, and a lot of the time that casting director might not even look up once at you, or they might be on their phone, or they might just a few minutes after you start ask you to leave. And so that can wear on you as an artist because you're working so hard at this goal, and sometimes it feels like you're not good enough. And I think what I had to reflect on and remember is that it doesn't matter if I make a living as an artist. It matters that I keep pursuing creative endeavors, because I really feel that every person is innately an artist. Every person is creative by nature. We're born and months later start playing peekaboo with our parents, and then a few months after that, we start playing ourselves. Like we're natural born little actors. And I think that I can appreciate looking around this room and recognizing so many artists in this room that don't necessarily make their entire living as an artist. So my artistic journey, it started as a little girl when I would go and watch my cousin, Claire Kiefer, and my best friend, Carly Casey, and I would watch these people act for a living, and Kate Austin as well, and I would watch these people act and put themselves out there, and I was like, that's phenomenal. And I was lucky enough to get to go to watch the productions at the PAC and go to the movies with my family all the time, and I was so inspired and thought, this is what I want to do. I want to be on screen. I want to make people laugh. I want to make people cry. I want to make people feel something. And I knew that from a very, very young age, and I included it in my biography, my autobiography that I wrote about myself when I was 10, if you ever want to read, that I was going to be an actress. But somewhere along puberty, I lost all faith and self-confidence in myself and decided that I should do something a little more practical. And so I spent the next many years, honestly, having no idea what I wanted to do with my life, because I had always known I wanted to be an artist, but then I was like, that's not really logical, Olivia. Like, people can't really do that. So, because I was only looking at the Angelina Jolies and the Jennifer Anistons and these amazing people of the world and thinking, that's what it is to be an actress. So I gave it up, and I was lost for a few years, and it made it really, really hard to pick a college, especially when I had so many friends that knew for sure that they wanted to be a doctor or a physician's assistant, and they were so clear on their path. So that meant that they had to go to a certain university and study a certain curriculum and then go to a university after that, and I had no idea. But luckily, I ended up at Boston University, which was an incredible place to have an education. I had no idea what I should major in, so I hopped around about 4 or 5 times, my poor advisor. And I ended up in health science, which was the most broad health major I could be in. And I thought, health is a good industry, like that's not going anywhere, I'll be able to make money there. But it wasn't until my last month of college, I was about to graduate, and of course, anyone that has a senior or has had a senior knows that every single person is gonna ask, so what's next? What are you doing? And I really didn't have a strong answer to that question. I knew that I wanted to be in Los Angeles. I had always wanted to move there. I felt that calling in a really profound way, so I had confidence when I said, moving to Los Angeles. And they were like, and? But my last few weeks of school, I received a Facebook message, which makes me laugh now because I abhor my Facebook inbox. It can be terrifying at times. But I received it from a stranger, and he said, there is a movie coming to town, it's filming, you have the right look, you should audition. So I went to the location that he told me to go to, showed up, yes, and it's not a recommended story, but this is what I did. Alone, I don't even think I told anyone where I was going. And lucky enough, it was an audition. And I met the producers, and they talked to me for a minute, and I said, I'm graduating, I'm moving to LA. And that's, of course, where they all lived, and they were like, what are you gonna do there? And I was like, I don't know. And they were like, well, I guess you could do something like this. And I was like, I don't know, can I? And they booked me. I have no idea why. But I spent the next 3 days on set of a film called Here Comes the Boom. It was a Kevin James film. And I was an extra in this film. And I feel like the best way that I can describe an extra is by when we are allowed to eat. So on a film, you break for lunch after every 6 hours. So you go to lunch, and there's like a huge buffet, an insane buffet set up. And the lead actors go first, and then all the other actors, and then the entire crew. And then like the groundskeepers, they go next. And then the extras go. And you get whatever's left. And I thought, this is great. Like this, I'm living the dream. And I really did. I had so much fun on set. I just was so enthralled by the creative energy around me to see these phenomenal actors act. And I was lucky enough on the 3rd day to sit next to Henry Winkler, who you may know as the Fonz. And I don't know why he sat next to me. I think it was just like, I think it was the only chair left, so I asked. I had no confidence to actually sit next to Henry Winkler, but I did. And he was like, what are you doing? And I told him I was graduating from BU in a couple weeks. And he was like, and what will you do? And it was like, well, to be honest, and I had my first moment of honesty, I said, I really want to act. I've always wanted to act, but I'm too scared to do it. And now I'm 22 years old, and I know people that have been studying this for all of college, that have been working on it since they were a little kid. And Henry Winkler himself was a child actor. He had studied. And he looked at me and he was like, but you're graduating from BU. And I said, yeah. And he said, and do you read a lot? And I said, yeah. He said, then you can be an actor. I was like, that doesn't add up, Henry. And he was like, all you need to be is a well-informed human. And if you are informed, then you can tell someone else's story. If you are uneducated, if you don't have an awareness about the world, then you can't empathize with other humans. But he said, keep learning, keep studying, keep growing. But if you want to do this, go do this. Why not? And that was the best advice I could have ever received. So a couple days later, lucky enough, I finished this film, and I got a call that they had enjoyed my work and they wanted me to do more nights as an extra on the film Ted, the Mark Wahlberg film. And I said, sure, I'll be an extra whenever. And I spent the next 3 nights, we did overnight shoots because any evening film that's shot for film or television is, it's shot all night long. So I would get there at 4 p.m. and leave at 7 a.m. And I was still a student, by the way. So then I would go and work. I worked as a personal trainer at my gym. I would go and work as a personal trainer, teach a group fitness class, and then go to class. And then leave and go on set for the next 2 nights. And I loved it. Granted, I was 22 at the time. I don't think I could do that now. But the fact that I wanted to be on set that bad, that I was willing to sacrifice sleep, sacrifice sanity, and just to be an extra, was like, this is proof that this is something that I do want to do. I do want to see what's out there. So a few months later, I moved to Los Angeles and marched myself into so many agency meetings. Had a lot of confidence that I shouldn't have had, but I did. And in line with a book that I was reading at the time, The Alchemist, I was graced with a lot of beginner's luck. And it was wonderful because it gave me so much assurance that I was on the path that I should be on. And then that beginner's luck eventually ran out. And it started getting harder, and some agents that I had gotten around me started dropping me, and my managers left me, and they said, you're just too green. And all of that was very scary. And so I started looking at, what do I have control over? What else could I do to make sure that I am getting these opportunities? And I looked at pageants, which I know is an untraditional route, but I did. I thought, those are people that have a voice. Those are people that have stage presence. These are things I need to work on. And so I started pursuing pageants. And my first pageant was Miss Santa Monica, USA. I know, you don't have to be from the place. It's weird. And I had to do research on Santa Monica so I could try to represent them. And I made it to the top 10. And we had a question on stage, and then they announced the top 5, and I was not in it. And I was like, well, darn it, this was my backup plan career. And I'm not even succeeding at that. So I was very disappointed afterwards, and my mom gave me some very sound advice, much like Henry Winkler's advice, really, that she said, this is like going to trial before you've been to law school. You know nothing about pageants. You haven't studied this at all. So she recommended that I start studying, and I did. I dove in. I worked with a coach for runway walking. I worked with a coach for interview. I worked with a coach for onstage questions. And I learned the world. I learned who had done it before me, and all of these things that I really did study and work towards. And I think it was 5 pageants later, I won Miss Oklahoma, USA, which was very fun. And I actually was from there, so that was great. And then I went on and I won Miss USA. And it was such a phenomenal feeling because I had worked so specifically to get to this goal that I knew was going to open doors for me. And it was such an honor to receive that award and know that I was on my path. And my year as Miss USA was an amazing year. I learned a lot. It came with a lot of challenges. I didn't sleep very much at all for about a year. But I've caught up since then, so no worries. And I got to do things that I never thought that I would do. I got to go to Sundance. I got to go to Haiti and work with kids with cleft lip and cleft palate. And I really did get to see that my voice could make a difference, as my dad and I got to go to Washington, D.C. and lobby for Alzheimer's. And there were just a couple people that Bob Thomas didn't know in D.C. that I introduced him to, which I was very proud of. Yeah. And all of those experiences, I had to set aside the acting career, of course, for the year because it was a full-time job, but all of those experiences gave me so much because, as Henry Winkler had said, it made me a more compassionate person. It made me a person with more life experience. I was able to travel to so many places that I never would have thought to go to. And all of that gifted me so much. And when I came back to LA, I was like, I'm going to be on top of the world. I'm going to book a show in no time, and then the rest is going to be history. But I went back to LA, and I had to reintroduce myself to casting directors who hadn't really known me or hadn't really remembered me from when I had left. And then I had to explain to them what I'd been doing for the past year, and they all were like, really, pageants? What does that have to do with anything? And I was like, well, it was supposed to open doors. I don't know. So it was a hard transition back to my life and back to my goal, especially since I had taken so much time to be in pageants and I wasn't up on my studying and I wasn't up on my A game and auditions. And it was really hard. It was a hard transition. But luckily, this spring, my luck did change, and I booked the film Attraction. And I got to go to Puerto Rico and film my first lead role in a movie. And it came with a ton of challenges, but it was an incredible experience. I learned so much, and I got to act. And I actually got to be paid to be an actor, not paid just for my Instagram post, or paid just for my modeling, or just for an appearance opening, the new store. I got paid to act, and it was a phenomenal thing and such a blessing. And then just yesterday, a huge other bucket list item happened. I got to audition for Sports Illustrated swimsuit, which I'm sure my parents are so proud has been my goal since I was like 8. What every parent of an 8-year-old wants to hear. I really want to be a bikini model, Dad. I really do. But it was an incredible experience, and it just felt, no matter what happens, it felt like that assurance of the alchemist before, I'm on my path. This is where I'm supposed to be right now. And this is not a path that I recommend for everyone. I do get a lot of phone calls and a lot of messages and Instagram messages, because I really don't read Facebook. Facebook, I don't know, the audience, they get it more intense. But I read a lot of messages from young girls or from parents of young people that say, my daughter wants to act or model or be Miss USA. And I've taken a few of those phone calls, and I respond to people when I can. And I realize now I can understand more a phone call that I made when I first moved to LA and had no idea what I was doing, that my aunt was kind enough to introduce me to Amber Valletta by phone. And I was thrilled to be able to talk to Amber, and she was so kind to take the time to talk to me. But what I heard from that phone call, whether she said these exact words or not, was, well, if you want to model, you're in the wrong city, so you need to move to New York. And I was like, well, I want to act. And so she said something along the lines of, well, that's going to be really hard. Everyone has been doing this for 10 years. You're 22. People have been doing this for 10 years, and they know the casting directors, and they've been studying, and you have a really uphill battle before you. And I was like, That's not what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear like, yeah, you're from Tulsa, things are gonna be great. And I wanted positivity, but now that's exactly the kind of phone call that I give to young girls, because it actually encouraged me at that time to want to prove to Amber that I could do it. And it made me want to prove to myself, like, I'm not in the wrong city. LA is where I'm going to model, and LA is where I'm going to act, despite the fact that I'm not as experienced as other people. And so that's what the same advice that I give to young girls when they call and they're like, how do I start modeling? I'm like, well, first of all, it's going to be really hard. And second of all, is there anything else you can do for a living? But it's my biggest message to encourage people to follow their dreams. And I know, because I've been through it, that no amount of me trying to steer them the other direction, if it's in their heart, they're going to do it. They really will. And there were a lot of people that told me that I couldn't do the things I wanted to do, that I hadn't been in pageants long enough to win, that I couldn't model because I was too old, that I couldn't act because I wasn't trained enough. And I'm here just proving all of them wrong. So I do want to share with you just the very best part of the arts is that they do benefit everyone. Art is such a release of emotion. Every time I see a movie that makes me laugh or makes me cry, I know that that's helping me heal my own wounds in my life, or helping me process things differently. And I just think that art is so valuable for that reason. And teaching art from a young age is so valuable because it gives tools to children that they can then survive on and thrive on in life. And art also teaches abundance. And this is the lesson I'm still working on, but math only has one answer, and sports only has one winner, and there's only one Miss USA. But art, if you had a different actress play a part in a movie, it would be a totally different movie. So no one actress can play the exact same part the exact same way. No one person can paint a painting the exact same way, because we all bring our own uniqueness to it. And we all bring our own self to it. And no one else can do what we can do as an individual. So it's a teaching in abundance. And what a wonderful thing that we should teach everyone and share and spread, is the gift of abundance. It's not competition, because there's enough out there for everyone. One of my favorite quotes, which didn't work in pageants, but it works for every other aspect of my life, is, I don't compete with anyone. I hope we all make it. And that's the abundance that art gives us, especially in this day and age when there is so much digital media. And if you don't get the part that you want, go create it. Go create something on your own, because there's that opportunity. Yes, thank you. So it doesn't have to be the way that you make your living, but I do encourage every single person, if you have that tug on your heartstrings to do something creative, whether that's writing, painting, drawing, dancing, acting, whatever you want to do, go do it. It doesn't have to be anything. You don't have to tell people you're an actor, but go act if you want to, if you feel called. I just read a book, Big Magic, and if any part of your soul is tugging on you to live more creatively, it's the best inspiration to do that, because creativity just opens you up. And I think that it's a beautiful thing, and I encourage all of you to live as creatively as you can. So please live creatively and support this cause, because there is so much proof that building arts in a community also builds the community in every way. And I was so blessed by a childhood that was filled with arts. It was a different time. I had music class, I had drawing class, I had all of these things. We put on performances at the end of every semester, and that was just a normal part of my elementary, middle, and high school education. And so things are changing now, and I don't want things to change, because I think that kids need this. Whether they're gonna grow up, and yes, they do. Kids need this. Art gets out everything for me. Dance is my expression of joy. I'm horrible, but it is joyful. Writing lets me release all my pain. Acting frees me. to be anything and anyone. And I just encourage that every little kid should have that opportunity, everyone. I'm really grateful to my parents because they have encouraged me every step of the way and shown me the joy of arts. I was exposed to everything as a child, Philbrook and PAC and a million Dana Gilpin classes. And I'm just so grateful that they encouraged my sister and I to try new things and to live creatively. And then going on, I feel so sorry for my friends in LA that their parents tell them, like, you need to move home now or try something else, because my parents, every step of the way, have said, go do it. Go do whatever you want to do. And it's a really beautiful gift. I'm very grateful. Yes. Okay, before I totally lose it, I just want to thank all of you. Thank you, Tulsa Arts Alliance, for having me. This is an unbelievable opportunity. Thank you to all of my friends, family, my beautiful boyfriend, Jay, for being here. All of you, my family. I do, maybe I'm biased, but I think I have the most creative family in the world, and that's why I've become a creative person and been blessed with this life. But I am just so grateful, and I'm grateful to all of you for supporting, and keep supporting, and buy these earrings for a lot of money because they kept me like mostly balanced, but I'm a Libra, so that's hard, and totally calm. So thank you all. Thank you, thank you.